Namaste. So we're continuing with the Vedic astrology course, talking about the planets and the rashis, the signs. The planets in Vedic astrology are called grahas. In Vedic astrology, we have 9 grahas. Navagraha means 9 planets. Graha means to grab, to seize, to control. In Ayurveda, one organ in the body called the grahani. This is the small intestine. It's named for its function, its physiological function, which is to grasp the nutrients from the food. It's been broken down, saliva in the mouth and the acid in the stomach, and it's carried on in the digestive tract to the small intestine called the grahani. So these planets are called grahas. Planet is really not a good translation of the Sanskrit word graha, because some of these are not planets. The 9 planets are Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu. 4 of these at least are not planets. The Sun is not a planet, it's a star. The Moon is not a planet, it's a satellite. And Rahu and Ketu have no physical substance at all. In English, sometimes Rahu and Ketu are referred to as the north node of the Moon and the south node of the Moon. Of an actual body, what they are, they're a place in the orbit of the planets where eclipse is formed. It's just a point out in space. There's no physical substance. So planet is really not a good translation of the Sanskrit graha. Though there is no physical substance to Rahu and Ketu, they have a massive effect on human consciousness. And Vedic astrology doesn't use these outer planets, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus. A lot of Western astrologers who convert to Vedic astrology, they want to continue to use these outer planets, and you can. There's no reason you can't, but a good Vedic astrologer need not refer to the placement of these outer planets. A close friend of mine is a very good Vedic astrologer. She practiced Western astrology many years ago. Before they had the computer program, she had to calculate all the charts by hand. And she's converted to the Vedic astrology, and she says we don't need the outer planets. She used them for a while, but she stopped using them as she got a better understanding of the 9 planets. Anything that these outer planets could possibly indicate can be understood by the placement of the 9 planets. And the Vedic sages had an understanding that these outer planets were there, and they had names for them, but they didn't use them in analysis of the chart. Because if you look very carefully at the placement of the planets, you can understand the effects without using the outer planets. And this astrologer I know had said that the transits of the outer planets can be understood. It's mirrored by the dashas of Rahu and Ketu. And so if we look carefully at the meaning of these planets, really you just need earlier they used only 7 planets. Without Rahu and Ketu, they used 7 planets, and you can tell anything you need from these 7 planets. But in Kali Yuga, the human intellect is becoming less. And so it's harder for people to analyze the subtle nuances and pick up on these subtle things. So Rahu and Ketu are indicating these subtle hidden forces. They don't have a physical substance, and often the things that they're indicating in the chart is not a physical thing. The hidden things, subtle things, energetic things, spiritual things, demons and angels, spiritual energies, energy, radiation, spiritual light, consciousness. Collective consciousness, emotions that affect society, emotions that affect weather patterns. These subtle things are indicated by these subtle grahas. If we want to be able to practice astrology, we have to really know the qualities of the 9 planets. A lot of astrologers skip this basic step. You have to know a lot about the planets. You have to know the planets. You have to have a good relationship with the planets. But a lot of astrologers, they don't learn too much about the planets. They learn a little bit and then they move on to other concepts, signs, nakshatras, houses. And they move on to complex techniques of analysis, dasha systems, ashtavarga, shadbala analysis, all these kind of things. Transits. There's so many techniques for analysis in Vedic astrology. But we don't really need all of these if we have a good understanding of the planets. We don't need to create a chart if we have a good understanding of the planets. Each of the planets indicates some things in life. Everything in the world can be indicated by one or the other of the planets. The sun indicates light, the moon indicates darkness. The sun indicates the soul, the moon indicates the mind. But the moon indicates the emotions in the mind, whereas Mercury indicates the intellectual thoughts in the mind. And Venus indicates the desires. Jupiter indicates the successes and the fortune. And Saturn indicates the losses and the disease. Mars indicates one's power, one's vitality, one's confidence. And every animal in the world would be indicated by one or the other of the planets. They say Saturn relates to birds, that birds are acting like Saturn. Why do we call them grahas? Because they say they seize us. If we understand the qualities of these planets, the qualities of the planets will grab us and affect us and will act like the planets. And each of the planets has some higher qualities and some lower qualities. Saturn indicates depression and loss and disease, and Saturn indicates wisdom and steadiness and discipline and authority. Saturn is very traditional. Saturn is very orthodox. If a person gets Saturn in their first house, that person may be very traditional, very orthodox. The person may tend to be thin because Saturn is thin. But if we get to Jupiter or Venus in the first house, the person may be very fat because those planets are fat, and the first house will indicate a person's appearance. So when the planet gets into the first house, it will seize that aspect of the person, their appearance. So Saturn relates to the birds, and all of the birds, they say, act a little bit like Saturn, but the crows act a lot like Saturn. The crows go in unpredictable fashion. They have jerky movements. They're not steady. Ooh. Have you ever seen an eagle or hawk fly through the sky? It's just very smooth gliding. The crow is like unsteady, like Saturn is unsteady. He'll make a person limp. The crows are black. Saturn relates to the black color. All the different birds could relate to the different planets. The bluebirds could indicate Venus. A red bird like a cardinal or a red-headed woodpecker, pop, 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 indicates Mars. A yellow canary might be indicated by Jupiter. These green parrots, they talk. What does Mercury indicate? He indicates speech. So the green parrots, may relate to Mercury. A white dove is at the moon, indicates peace. Or water birds, a seagull with a lot of white color flying by the water. Moon indicates water. That bird, as far as all the birds are concerned, is related very much to the moon. But in general, the birds are all indicated by Saturn. Everything in the universe is indicated by one or the other of the planets. Jupiter indicates wealth, abundance, but Mercury indicates money and bills and checks and accounting. Venus indicates clothing. Jupiter may indicate food and grains, and the moon indicates milk. Everything in the universe is ruled by one or the other of the planets. Every planet has a certain appearance. We need not know all about houses and rashis, nakshatras. We don't need to know about all these things if we know very much about the planets. If a person comes to you, look at the omens, what do you see? There's a green color behind me. I don't know if it looks so green in this video. There's a green color that indicates Mercury. Someone comes with a question, what should I do? I have this problem. You know what the problem is from the omen that's presented to you? And you know what the solution is from the omen that's presented to you? There's a white color on this sofa cover. The problem is Mercury, solution is Venus. Problem is money. Solution is creativity, generosity. The universe is always answering all of our questions. And I'm sure some are thinking, well, how do you know that? We said Mercury, how do you know that's about money? That's just an example. No one's coming with a question right now, I hope. I'll be interrupted from making this video for you. But that's an example. How do we know? We have to have that intuition. They'll say, oh, but it's so easy. If you can look at what house it's in, then you know. If you can look at the sign, is that planet placed well? Are we getting the benefic qualities of that planet or the malefic qualities of that planet? Moon can be very emotional. Moon can be very nurturing, very intuitive, very spiritual. Mars can be very angry. Sun can be very angry, but they both give us confidence, positive quality to move forward, to have success. The sun gives us a lot of authority, to ruling power. We can govern other people. We can manage other people if the sun is placed well. We're getting those benefic qualities. We're getting seized by those benefic qualities of that graha. Mercury can make us very anxious, very scattered in our thinking. Or Mercury can make us very scientific, very intellectual, very intelligent. Mercury can make us a good problem solver. Mercury can make us good at managing our finances. Mercury can give us excellent qualities of speech to convey all sorts of meanings. Or Mercury can give us trouble to speak. If Mercury is afflicted, we may stutter. Is that planet weak or is that planet strong? Is another question. Because a strong Mars will make us confident, positive. A weak Mars will make us insecure and angry and what do they call it? like a megalomaniac, like very egotistical, very pretentious, with this false, overinflated sense of confidence, compensating for something. I'm so tough. You see these guys walking around, I'm so tough. They're flexing their muscle. First thing you see, when you see them, they'll start yelling, "Ugh, don't come close to me. I'm scary. I'm tough." You know that they're lacking confidence when they do this kind of thing. That will be revealed in their other behaviors if you watch very carefully. So just because we have an indicator of a Mars doesn't mean anything in particular. We have to have a great deal of intuition. But even in analyzing the chart, even if you know what house that Mars is in, you can't say Mars is in the seventh house, so we'll get this kind of effect. We'll talk about that in particular later, because there's a thing called Mangala dosha. Mangala is one name for Mars planet. Mangala means auspicious. They say he's so inauspicious that they've got to call him Mangala to counteract that inauspicious quality. Mangala graha. They say Mangala dosha when you get the Mars in your seventh house or certain other houses will prevent marriage because of his natural malefic quality. But it's not always that simple. You've got to ask yourself, how is this Mars placed? Is he in a friendly sign? Is he in an enemy's sign? Is he strong and positive? Is he weak? We can analyze the details, but it's not always that simple because there are too many factors to analyze. How is the Lord of the house that Mars is in doing? How that Lord, it would be placed somewhere else. If Mars is in Gemini, Lord is Mercury. How is Mercury? Is Mercury weak? Is Mars having the aspect, the drishti, or the argala from other planets? Is the Mercury having the aspect from other planets? Is Mars auspicious for the lagna, for the ascendant? How is Mars doing in the Navamsha chart? What is Mars the indicator of? What signs is he ruling? What other aspects of life? Mars could be placed very well in the seventh house. But if he's ruling the 12th house, that won't do you much good, perhaps, because you'll have a tendency to lose the things that he indicates, and he'll be indicating your marriage if he's in the seventh house. Is he close to the edge of the sign? Is he close to the edge of a nakshatra? Is he close to other planets? Who is he conjunct with? Is the sun so close he's blocking out all the rays of the Mars? Is he so close he's having a planetary war with the other planets? Is he close to Rahu, Ketu? So many things to analyze. He could be aspected by 5 different planets. And who is stronger of these planets? Is he strong? Is he weak? It's not so simple. Even for a very skilled astrologer, you can't just make a chart and say, okay, this planet is auspicious. All the computer programs try to do this. They'll say, okay, we calculated, and then Mars is functional benefic in this chart. But it's not that simple. That doesn't mean you want to give a gemstone remedy to strengthen that Mars, because you've got to be very careful and analyze the effects very carefully. Every planet generally will be capable of some good and some bad effects. Ideally, we would manifest only the good effects. And that's what an astrologer should try to do for the clients, not to make them be someone who they're not, but help them to be the best that they can be, to manifest the highest qualities of the planets in their chart. There's a range of effects, but a person may have very much trouble to step beyond that. We can get the auspicious qualities of a debilitated Mars or an exalted Mars, depending on how he's placed in the chart. We can't get other sort of qualities than however he's placed, though. If Mars is debilitated, we'll never get the qualities of exalted Mars for that person. We'll get the positive qualities of the debilitated Mars when that person has done their spiritual work. It's not so simple. I see astrologers, and I may have said this before, but it's very important. I see astrologers doing studies. They say, give me all the charts. If you know anyone who had a divorce, give me the chart. If you know anyone who had an abortion, give me the chart. Let me find what the astrological factors that cause this are. It's not that simple. They've misunderstood. Maybe they didn't have a guru. Maybe they just read the astrological texts, because the astrological texts will say that kind of thing. Say if Jupiter is in the seventh house, we'll have a very happy marriage. We'll be very fortunate. Our partner will bring us fortune. We may have a foreign partner. And people then, they look at that placement, they say, oh, Jupiter is in the seventh house, so you're very fortunate. When I was a child, I used to read my Western horoscope. Half of you people, if you know your Western sun sign, it's going to change in the Vedic astrology because the calculations are different. In my case, it's the same, actually. Half of the people, it will be the same. Of course, in Vedic astrology, we don't look very much into the sun sign. We look at the moon sign. Someone says, what's your sign? In Vedic astrology, we're talking, what is your moon sign? They say, what is your nakshatra? They mean, what nakshatra is your moon in at the time of your birth? Because the moon is the mind. It will indicate a lot more about the person, their thoughts and feelings. It's going to create the colors of their aura. It's going to create their emotional state, their desires, all these kind of things. In Vedic astrology, we understand you can tell much more from the moon sign. So we look at the moon sign. But the sun sign still will have some effects. But when I would read it, I read my horoscope as a child, it was always wrong. Maybe some of the bad things were right. The good things were always wrong. It'd say, okay, you have a lot of luck this month. It's a very unfortunate month for me. It always seemed the opposite. And I thought, this is just crazy. They're making this up. But then I realized it's not so simple, because in my chart, the sun is placed very close to the Mars. Sun is combusting the Mars, and so it creates whole different sort of effects. It's never so simple. How do we know what to predict? We have to have intuition, and if we have that intuition, we need not use the charts. We can just use the planets, because the universe is telling us which planet at every given moment. When a person comes, they'll wear a certain color shirt. They'll touch a certain part of their body. They'll start their words with a certain syllable. And those, you'll see as we go on, they relate to the different planets, and we can understand which planet they're talking about in that way. When I take the birth data from someone, I always ask them, I say, what color comes to your mind? And then I know that that's the planet they're talking to me about. And even that, you have to have some intuition, because they may say red, and so you have to ask yourself, do they mean the sun? Or do they mean the Mars? Do they even mean Ketu? Who knows? They may say white, and you have to ask yourself, do they mean Venus? Do they mean the moon? They may say blue, and you'll say, do they mean Venus? Do they mean Saturn? And you have to just know these things. But when you look at that planet, they may say, I'm having relationship problems. When you look at the planet that they're talking about in the chart, it should indicate those problems. Otherwise, you need to say to them, no, no, no. You're not having relationship problems. You're having health problems. We need to work on this other thing, whatever it may be, instead. We can get a confirmation there. That's why I always ask that kind of question. And this kind of thing is not presented by a person's birth chart. You need to get into something different, like omens, like prashna charts, to find these kind of answers. When you're dealing with someone who's done a lot of spiritual work on themselves, you can't just look at their chart and expect that you know what problems that they're facing. They may have worked through some of those karmas. They may have shifted the situation. You need to consult a prashna chart, a chart of the moment that they come to you, to confirm And you'd be amazed that very often when you consult a prashna chart, the same nakshatras are inhabited by planets that's in the birth chart. The same houses are affected. The same planets are together in the same signs. Many things. You'll see many similarities, and it will generally indicate the same problems in one way or the other. And it lets you know they still need to work on all those things. If you ever have a question, if someone says, I had 5 yagyams performed for me in the best temples in India to remedy these problems, then look at a prashna chart and see if the problem is still indicated. And if it is, say, okay, we should do another anyhow. I'm sure that helped some. We should still do more, and you should do more. Here's a mantra you can use to work on that situation. But how do we know the planets? We can read all about them. There are many texts. We can read all the old texts. You should look at Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra and the other texts. There's so many other old astrological texts that all give a slightly different description of the planets. I'll be giving a description of the qualities and what the planets rule and the different things that they are related to. The age of the different planets, the direction of the different planets. We'll talk about how all that is used in astrology. We can read and we should read, but we should do an equal part of worship. If you want to really know the planet, to have some knowledge, experiential knowledge of the planet, you've got to meditate on the planet. You've got to pray to the planet. As I introduce each of the planets just a little bit, I'm going to give their Vedic mantras to convey the energy of the planet. You should sit and meditate and open yourself to this mudra. It's like an empty bowl. It makes you open to receive knowledge. The different mantras for the planets uplift our consciousness to the vibration of the highest potential of the planets, to that divine being relating to those things in the world, to the deva, the god relating to the planet. In their prayer, they open a channel that we can communicate with the planets, even if it's not clear to you. If you have a relationship with the planets, they may tell you. You can pray. You can say the mantras for the planet and say, Saturn, help me know what's going on here for that person so I can tell them what to do to help themselves. What do you want them to do, Lord? They're suffering. They're struggling. You put these blockages in their way. What is it you need to see from them in order that you give them your grace and shift things a little bit? There's a simpler hymn for the planets. They say it's composed by Veda Vyasa. I'll be sharing a video of that one. I've shared the text of that one. It's simpler, easier to use. The Veda mantras are much harder to learn. But I'll be reciting the Veda mantras as we introduce each planet to help connect you to the spiritual energy of the planet, to help to initiate your study, your own practice. We should be doing equal amount of practice. If you read about the planet for 5 months, you should do 5 months of spiritual practice on that planet as well. You could focus on one at a time. You could do a little bit on each. I like the thought of focusing on one at a time. Do for a few days, just focus on the sun. Get to really know the energy of the sun. Worship with the things of the sun. Use the red flowers, red cloth. The specific grain, wheat. Meditate on the sun. Use the mantras of the sun. Get to know the planet that way. That's really much more important. If you had to do one or the other, skip the reading and do the spiritual practice. It's not an intellectual thing. It's an intuitive thing. The first of the 9 planets is the sun. They call him Surya. They call him Ravi. They call him Aditya. Om satyena rajasa vartamano niveshayan amritam martyam cha hiranyayena savitharathena devo yati bhuvana vipasyanni agnim dotam vrinimahe hotaram vishvavedasam asya yasya sukratu Eshameshe Pashupatih Pashunam Chatushpadam Uta Chatvipadam Nishkritohyam Yam Bhagame Purayasposha Yajamanasya Santu Om Adhidevata Pradhati Devata Saitaya Bhagavate Adityaya Namaha Agnaye Namaha Pashupataye Namaha. It's the mantra in the Vedic mantras. There's 3 different mantras. The first is for the graha, the planet themselves. The second is for the Adi Deva, and the third is for the Pratyadi Deva. These are the overlord. Adi Deva represents the energy of that planet, and the Pratyadi Deva, it represents an even more fundamental energy through nature relating to that planet. So first we have the sun here, then we have the fire, Agni. And then we have Pashupati, the lord of animals, lord of creatures. They say the sun is the day maker. He gives light to the other planets. None of the other planets have light without the light of the sun. He has a fundamental position. He's considered the father in the family. He's the leader. He's the king. He's the president. He's the prime minister. A well-placed sun gives us the quality to be a good father, or president, or leader, or prime minister. They say the sun relates to the soul. The sun's warm. They say the sun's a natural malefic, or some texts they don't describe him as malefic. They say simply that he's cruel, which is less harsh than being a malefic. All the planets, they will say, just are general malefic, general benefic. And this is very useful if we have the omens. A malefic planet or a cruel planet is going to indicate no if we have a question, and a benefic planet is going to indicate yes if we have a question. So if we see the things that are indicated by the sun, we know the answer to whatever we're thinking in the mind. Should I do this? Should I do that? Answer is no, because his nature, when we don't consider anything else, is malefic or cruel. It's not as harsh as some of the other planets, but if you think of a hot sun in India, even hot sun in Virginia scorching down on a person, it's harsh, it's cruel. It dries things out. So he's heating, he's got a fiery quality. When the sun is weak, when the sun is afflicted, a person can lack confidence. They can lack executive abilities. They can lack determination to go out and do positive things in the world. It's very important to have a strong and good placed sun in the chart to have a lot of success. The sun gives us confidence. The sun gives us protection. A simple little description. We're going to the moon now. It's called Chandra or called Soma. The moon is understood to relate to water and the tides. The moon is always having phases, constantly changing. Every other day is in a new nakshatra. Goes through all the signs in 1 month. Always changing, and then he's full one day and people are crazy and extroverted, and then he's 15 days later you can't see him. It's the no moon phase. Amavasya is the no moon phase. Purnima is the full moon phase. The no moon phase, people are depressed, they're introverted, they're very quiet. And in between, we have all these different lunar phases named by their number: Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, 2, 3, 4, Pratama, 1, Ekadashi, 11. And each one has a different nature, different quality. And in the dark half, the moon is more inauspicious. Dark half, when the moon is waning, waning toward the no moon phase. The moon is waxing, increasing toward the full moon phase. They say moon is more auspicious. Some will say moon is malefic when in the dark half of the lunar month. And the moon is benefic in the bright half. Om apyayasva sametute vishvatah soma vrishniyam bhavava jassa sangate apsume somo abravidantar vishvani bhesaja agnim ja vishvashambhuvamapascha vishvabheshaji gaurimi maya salilani takshatte kabadi dvipadi sajatushpadi Ashtapadi Navapadi Babhuvushi Sahasra Akshara Parame Pyomanne Om Adhidevata Pratyadidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Chandraya Namaha Adbhyo Namaha Gauriye Namaha. The deities here are Chandra, the moon, the Apa or water, and Gauri or Parvati or goddess Shakti. Sometimes they say that the Pratyadi Devata of the sun is Rudra or Shiva. Shiva, Parvati. And sometimes they relate it the other way. Sometimes they'll say the moon is the Shiva. And the sun is the goddess, like goddess Gayatri. But the sun is more masculine, the moon is more feminine. Moon relates to women, moon relates to water, and they say the moon has this soma, this healing, nutritive essence. The moon causes the plants to grow and gives the soma, the healing essence to the plants. It heals us when we take herbal remedies. The moon has a very healing quality, just like water has a very healing quality and nourishing quality. While the sun will dry us out, the moon will nourish us, give us abundance. The moon is very changeable. When the moon is with other planets, the moon will be affected very much by those other planets. An inauspicious moon will be made auspicious by being conjunct with an auspicious planet. An auspicious moon will be made less auspicious by the aspect of a inauspicious planet, a papagraha, a malefic planet. So the next planet is the Mars. We call Angaraka. We call Mangala, or we call Kuja. There are many names. There's 108 names for each of these planets. There's a book written. I haven't seen it. I'd like to see it. It's probably a good book written on the 108 names with a translation, and it tells you some meaning of using each name, each of the 108 names of all these planets as a mantra for healing. Written by the guy who does the Vedic astrology program. He lives here in Charlottesville, Virginia area. He's from UK originally, Andrew Foss. He wrote this program, Sri Jyoti Star, that we're using for astrology. And he wrote this book. I'd like to see this book. It may be worth getting and looking at because it talks about the mantras. This is very important stuff. We have too many books about techniques to analyze the charts, too few books on how to worship the planets and really do this remedies. That's the point. You can skip all the other things, do the remedies. The next planet is Mars. Om Agnir Mordhadivaka Prativya Ayam Apagum Retagum Sijinvati Syorna Prithivibhavan Riksarani Veshani Yachana Sharma Sapratha Kshetrasya Patina Vayakum Mithene Vajayamasi Gamashvam Poshayintvasano Mridati Trishe Om Adhidevata Pratyadidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Angarakaya Namaha Bhumye Namaha Kshetrapalakaya Namaha. The planet is Mars, Angaraka. Adideva is the Bhumi or Prithvi, Earth. And the Pratyadideva is Kshetrapala, the guardian of directions, guardian of places, guardian of sacred places, Kshetrapala. Mars is like a warrior. Mars gives us protection. Mars can be like a brother in the family. Sun is father, moon is the mother, Mars is the sibling, but sun is the self, the soul, the Atma. The moon is the mind. Mars is the courage. Mars is the aspiration. Mars gives us a lot of success. He gives us a lot of confidence. He gives us strength, vitality. We're good at exercising, like bodybuilder or acrobat. I would say nowadays yogi, but I wouldn't say that's a yogi. I'd say that's an acrobat. If you have good acrobatic skills, probably you have a well-placed Mars. If you're good at athletics, competing, Olympics, throwing the stick, throwing the disc, throwing the chakra, discus, running, jumping high, these kind of Mars, you probably have your good placed Mars, you probably have. But if he's not placed well, as I said before, we're going to lack confidence and we're going to get very angry. Explosive anger is generally caused by Mars. He's probably contributing through the world in incidents like war. And he relates to fire. Sun relates to fire. Mars relates to fire. In the Vedic tradition, we have the sun, we have the moon, we have Savitri, sun, we have Gaia, we have moon, Soma, and we have Agni. Mars, the fire on the ground. And there's those three major forces. To some extent, this is the Ida Nadi, the Pingala Nadi. Moon is Ida Nadi, this lunar, feminine side. Pingala, masculine, right side. This is sun. And the fire of transformation leads to the spiritual awakening. This is Kundalini. This is awakening. Mars relates to Murugan, Subramanya, the second son of Lord Shiva. And he relates to awakening. He gives us quick results. If you want to accomplish things quickly, and if you have to have the blessings of Mars. Of course, Saturn will slow us down. If you need to pace yourself, it's all overwhelming. Pray for Saturn's grace. Lord, help slow things down. If you want to speed things up, Mars is like Lord Murugan, who carries the veil, the spear. That spear, he can just throw it, and from far away, just bam, goes right to the spot. Precise, it's direct, it's quick, it bam. This is Mars, this is Subramanyam. And I said we can pray to different planets, different gods for the planets. There's not just the Adideva, the Pratyadideva. There's these overlords for all the planets, and there's many modern deities. We can pray Shiva for the moon. We can pray to goddess Gayatri for the sun. We can pray to Murugan for the Mars. And for Mercury, we can pray to Vishnu, the Adideva, Pratyadideva, Narayana. We could even pray to Goddess Saraswati, especially if we're dealing with the learning aspect of Mercury. We're dealing with the wealth aspect, the finances, the accounting. We could pray to Goddess Lakshmi. We could pray to Ganapati, wisdom, the good, strong intellect for learning of the sciences. We could pray to Ganapati. For the speech, we could pray to Vagishwara, Ganapati. We could pray to Vagdevi, Saraswati. The next planet is Mercury. Om Udbuddhyasvagne Pratijagrihyena Mishtapurthesagum Srijethamayancha Punakrinvaggisva Pitaram Yuvanamanvatagum Setvaetantumetam Idam Vishnor Vichakrame Tredhanidade Padam Samodhamasya Pagum Sure Vishnoraratamasi Vishno Prishtamasi Vishno Snaptre Isto Vishno Churasi Vishno Dhruvamasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavitva Ulmadhidevata Pradhatidevata Saitai Bhagavate Buddhaya Namaha Narayanaya Namaha Vishnave Namaha. Buddha, not Buddha, God in Buddhism. Buddhism. You have two da. So we get a little pause. Buddha, Buddha. This is just one da. Buddha, Buddha, Buddha Graha. Mercury planet. His color is green. We offer him green grass. We offer him green leaves, green or yellow colored flowers. If you can't find green colored flowers, yellow is okay. His color is green and earth colors, tan, light browns. He can make us very anxious. He can make us very wise, very intelligent. If you're studying, you need the blessings of Mercury. If you want success in your studies, you need the blessings of Lord Mercury. I notice as I start talking about him, someone tries to communicate with me. They call on the telephone. The voice starts cracking. I talked before. He relates to the speech. He can make a person stutter. He can make a person very eloquent. And that's what happens when we work with these planets, is that it brings up our faults caused by the planets. If we're praying on behalf of others, it gives us a little of that fault. It makes us, we take on that a little bit, that energy. We can lighten the burden by chanting that mantras of the planets. We're generating the energy of the highest potential of the planet and sending that out to whoever we're praying for. And in place, we take a little bit of whatever that planet is doing to bind and burden that person. We may start to feel anxious when we look at the problems of the Mercury. And people get so anxious about Mercury. I think it's the intellect. People's intellect is out of control here in the West. And so Saturn, it will be killing people and they don't care, but Mercury goes retrograde. Mercury is retrograde. Oh no. I see everyone posting on Facebook everywhere. They say, oh no, Mercury is retrograde. In Vedic astrology, retrograde is not a bad thing. Retrograde just gives some extra strength to the planet. It may change things a little bit, but it's not necessarily bad. People are thinking so much, they're fearing so much, they cause their electric devices to stop working. Mercury's not doing that. Especially not for someone whose Mercury is retrograde in their birth chart. They'll be feeling better at the time Mercury is retrograde. People are so afraid of this. Why are they not afraid of Mars retrograde? Mars is a malefic planet. Mercury is a benefic planet. However, just like the moon, the Mercury is very influenceable. But you feel you can't change that so much. You're feeling depressed from what has happened. People say kind words to cheer you up and you're still feeling pretty depressed. It's hard to get out of that. What you're thinking can change very easily. Very, very easily. You've got to remember this. Mercury is the most easily influenced planet among them all because the mind and the intellect is so easily influenced. We can feel very strongly we like someone. You may feel very strongly, I'm a very good teacher. But then someone will tell you some bad thing about me, and all of a sudden it is flipped entirely. Oh, he's a very bad teacher. This is how the mind works. People will share with you one little detail, and your whole opinion has changed. What was up is now down. What was down is now up. You like one thing one day, you hate it the next day. We shouldn't identify so much with these beliefs and opinions and things. For some politician, and then you're against him the next day. Because it's so easy to change the mind like this. Mercury is very, very changeable. To the extent that if Mercury is conjunct with any planet, he'll stop acting like Mercury, he'll start to act like that planet. If they're in the same sign, if they're in the same nakshatra in a different sign, that Mercury, for better or for worse, will start to act like that planet. If Mercury gets an aspect, bam, he starts to act like that planet. If Mercury is placed in the sign of a planet that is placed stronger than he is, he'll start to act like that planet, for better or for worse. But when he's weak, when he's afflicted, he gives us some serious problems. Mental problems, mental health problems, nervous system problems, relates to the nervous system. Mars relates to the blood. It's subtler with Mercury. Mercury could indicate siblings as well. Mercury could indicate maternal relatives. Next planet is Brihaspati or Guru Graha, Jupiter. They call him Guru because he's the teacher of the gods, they say. Venus, on the other hand, they say is the teacher of the demons. Asura Charya. Asura is demon, Acharya is a teacher. He's the teacher of the demons. Guru Graha is the teacher of the gods. He's very spiritual. Brihaspati. Om Brihaspati Atiyadaryo Arha Adhimad Vibhati Krituma Janeshu Yetti Daya Chavasartha Praja Tadatasma Sudravinande Chitram Indramarutava Ihapahi Somam Yathasharyate Apipasutasya Tava Praniti Tava Shura Sharmana Vivasanti Kavayasu Yakyah Brahmajakyanam Prathamam Purasthat Visimatas Surucho Vena Avaha Sabudhniya Upama Asya Vishtha Satascha Vivaha Om Adhidevata Padhadidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Brihaspataye Namaha Indraya Marutvate Namaha Brahmane Namaha. Indra and the Maruts is the Adideva. Brahma is the Pratyadideva. But we can pray to Lakshmi for Jupiter. We can pray to Vishnu. Jupiter is abundance. Jupiter is fortune. Jupiter, they call him Guru Graha, and he relates to the Guru. Your spiritual teacher will be indicated by your Guru. Ninth house indicates spiritual teacher, spiritual practice. If your Jupiter gets in your ninth house, you'll generally tend to have very spiritual teacher. Good connection with the spiritual teacher. You'll do a lot of spiritual practice, and you'll have a lot of fortune. Guru in the fifth house indicates the past life. That'll give us a lot of fortune coming to us from the good deeds of our past life, and it'll give us great children, great relationship with the children. Anywhere he gets placed, he's going to bless that aspect of a person's life generally. He's very auspicious. Even Shukra Graha is very auspicious. He's very benefic. He's the most benefic of the planets. He's so benefic that even when he's causing trouble, it won't be so bad. Saturn, on the other hand, is so malefic that even when he's giving good results, it won't be that good. Saturn will make someone limp along very steadily. They'll work very, very hard. They'll accomplish something eventually. They'll give someone some wisdom. They'll know what to do in a situation. They may not do it because Saturn's not acting through them, and Mars will be acting. They may not be happy about it because Moon may be depressed, but they'll know what to do. They have the wisdom. Jupiter gives all kind of abundance. When he's placed bad, people, they might just eat too much food. They get a little overweight. It's not so bad. Saturn will cut off your arm, cut off your leg. Jupiter generally not. You'll be a little overweight. You'll be overindulging. Have too much abundance. But Jupiter gives us spirituality as well. He doesn't. He's really a very auspicious planet, the most auspicious of the planets. Venus indicates the things we enjoy, what we like to do recreationally, what we're attracted to, in addition to giving abundance like Jupiter does. Jupiter, on the other hand, indicates our spirituality. A well-placed Jupiter will make someone very wise, very spiritual. When the moon and the sun are opposite from one another, it's an interesting placement. If one is 7 houses away from the other, they're exactly opposite in the chart. And the soul's going to be maybe going in one direction and the mind in another direction. This is a placement that will tend to make someone very intuitive. Also, if the sun and the moon are conjunct but not too close together, it could make the person very intuitive. If they're too close together, it can make the person crazy. But when the person, when there's other indications, like a well-placed Jupiter, that the person is very spiritual. In this placement of the moon and the sun opposite of one another, it could indicate that the person is very detached from the mind and detached from the body and very well connected to the soul. We have to be connected to our higher level to be intuitive to some extent. Jupiter gives us great blessing. When the Jupiter is placed anywhere in the chart that's very positive, we can overcome all difficulties. When Jupiter gets in the 9th house, we can overcome any difficulty in the chart through prayer. If we have a lot of planets harming some aspect of life, like the career, the 10th house, we could have 3 malefic planets harming someone's career. But if that Jupiter is involved, maybe this is happening in Jupiter's sign that he rules, and we can pray and we'll earn grace because Jupiter is that benefic. We could have all these things in life. We can have money from the, even though Jupiter indicates wealth and money and gemstones and things, indicates gold in particular. We could have the money from the Mercury, but we won't be enjoying it. We won't be spending it unless we have the grace from Guru. So Venus really indicates gemstones and all beautiful things and pretty clothing. Venus is a planet as well that can be a little bit vain. Venus will be very focused on appearances. Venus will be a fashion model or a fashion photographer or fashion designer. Venus likes the arts. Venus may be a painter. If you want to be a good artist, even musician possibly, you have to have a good placed Venus. In this sense, Venus relates to these lower astral beings, the Gandharvas, the Apsaras, celestial musicians. You say to them, he's the Deva, he's like a god. He's a guide, he's a guru. Asuracharya. So the mantras for Venus, Shukra, they call him in Sanskrit. Om Prava Shukraya Bhanave Bharadagum Havyam Matim Cha Agnaye Suputam Yo devyani manushadano gasyantar vishvani vidmana jigati. Indratnima sunarisu supatni mahamasravam. Nahyasya aparanjana jarasa marate patihi. Indram vo vishvatasparyavamahe janebhyah. Asmakamastu kevalaha. Om Adhidevata Pradhidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Shukraya Namaha Indranya Namaha Indraya Namaha. So the Adhideva is Indrani, the goddess, the consort of Lord Indra, and Indra, the king of the heaven, is the Pratyadideva. I would tend to pray to goddess Lakshmi in every case for Shukra. Shukra is cool, Guru is warm. If you look at those gemstones, diamond is cooling, yellow sapphire, yellow topaz is heating. Shukra is cool, Jupiter is warm. Usually if one of them is not placed real well, the other one will be placed better. We'd get all the grace from these two planets generally. The bad things of Shukra usually not that bad. Very benefic planet. These are the two most benefic planets, the Brihaspati and Shukra. They give us a lot of grace. Most malefic of the 7 planets is Mars, and Saturn the most malefic. Shukra indicates love. Mars indicates passion. Mars may indicate very physical relationship. Venus indicates romance. Venus may indicate the spouse. Jupiter indicates the children, progeny. Venus indicates the spouse. Saturn indicates the grandparents, maybe. Because Saturn is old. Venus relates to light colors, beautiful colors, variegated colors, pastel colors. White, light blue, light pink, all very Venus colors. Venus is very beautiful. If you get Venus in the 1st house, you'll be beautiful. If you get Venus in the 7th house, your spouse will be beautiful. If you get Venus in the 4th house, your home will be beautiful and your mother will be beautiful. Venus could have some tendency toward becoming overweight. Venus may tend toward overabundance like Jupiter. Venus relates to urinary organs in the body. We'll talk more about all the specifics. We're just giving general introduction. And Shani or Shanaishchara, Manda, Saturn. Shanaishchara. Om Shamno Devirabhishtaya Apo Bhavantu Pitaye Shamyorabhisravantu Naha Prajapate Natvadetanyanjo Vishvajatani Parita Babhuva Yatkamaste Juhumastatnoastavayagashyama Patayorahirnam Imam Yamah Prastaramahi Sidan Gerobik Pitribhis Samvidanaha Atva Mantra Kavishastavahantre Narajana Havishamadayasva Om Adhidevata Pradhidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Shanaishcharaya Namaha Prajapataye Namaha Dharmarajaya Namaha. The Adhideva is Prajapati, personal lord. Pratyadideva is the Yama, lord of death. They also call him Dharmaraja, lord of Dharma, lord of our fate, lord of our duty, and the lord of death. Saturn indicates death. Saturn indicates disease. Saturn indicates loss. Wherever he gets placed in your chart, he'll destroy those things or separate you from those things. And not necessarily so. I'll get into that. People get so afraid of Saturn. They're afraid of loss, but loss is very good. It's very powerful. Saturn issues to us our karma. Saturn keeps us in line. But if the Saturn gets into the second house, maybe you'll have a very difficult childhood. If he gets into the third house, you'll have a very difficult adult life. If he gets into the fourth house, you'll be depressed because fourth house indicates emotions, and you may lose your house. Your house will be small and dirty and broken. And if he gets in the fifth house, maybe you'll have an abortion. You can't have children. If he's in the sixth house, you'll get very sick. If he's in the seventh house, you'll get a divorce, so you can't get married. If he's in the eighth house, maybe you'll die. Actually, they say generally if Saturn gets in the eighth house, you'll have long life because Saturn is old. If he aspects the eighth house, though, you'll probably die. But you may be put in prison or something. You lose your freedom. In the ninth house, you may become very spiritual. You may meditate a lot, or you may lose your connection to your guru, to your spirituality, to your spiritual practice. 10th house, you may lose your job, or you have to work very, very hard. Saturn appreciates hard work. He makes a person work hard. 11th house, you'll have no gains, no money. 12th house is losses. He'll make you lose a lot of things. If you do have the Saturn in the 8th house, probably a lot of people you know may die. Saturn in the first house, you'll be thin, you'll be hairy, you'll limp. You'll be very dark compared to the other people in your family. You'll get these qualities like Saturn. But you may be very wise. You may be very traditional. You may wear an older form of clothing. Saturn is in your 4th house. You may buy a very old house, and that may be why it's falling apart also. Built in a more traditional way, Saturn honors tradition. Saturn's very orthodox. When you get Saturn and Jupiter placed together, this can be a very good placement because Saturn is indeed very spiritual. He's got a lot of wisdom. We'll create like a sannyasi yoga, a combination of planets that's not good for material prosperity, but is very good for spirituality. He'll make you lose the fortune of the Jupiter, and the spirituality of the Jupiter will activate the wisdom, the meditative ability. Saturn can meditate. Saturn gives us liberation because he's lost. He indicates loss of the ego. Then we have Rahu, the north node of the moon. Om Kayas Chitra Bhavatuti Satavritas Sakha Kaya Shachishtaya Vritha Ayangoh Prishnirakrami Dasanan Mataram Punaha Vitarancha Prayantsavaha Yatte Devi Niharitira Bapantadam Akrivasava Vichatyam Idante Tadvishyamyayusho Namadya Tatha Jiva Pitumati Pramuktaha Om Adhidevata Pradadidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Rahave Namaha. Rahu is the north node of the moon. It creates the eclipse. Rahu and Ketu create solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Rahu, they say, indicates the paternal ancestors. Ketu indicates the maternal. Paternal, Rahu, Ketu, maternal ancestors. They indicate hidden spiritual forces. Rahu gives a lot of troubles from hidden sources, unseen sources, spiritual sources like the drishti. We're carrying energy from people. They looked at us with greed, with anger, with jealousy, with desire, and they sent some energy, latch on to us, and that's affecting us. That's Rahu Ketu. Rahu is seizing women now to dress they're wearing less clothing. It causes the men to look at them, give them the drishti. They're carrying around this spiritual energy. So Rahu indicates dust and dirt. Rahu indicates parasites. Ketu indicates a lot of the same. They were the same. There's a story in the mythology that the gods and devas were churning the ocean of milk. It's hard to describe. You read more about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Probably if you're watching this class, you've heard some of that story. But if you haven't, look up the story of gods and devas churning the ocean of milk. But the gods and devas were churning the ocean of milk, and the different things were coming out. And the Kamadhenu came out, the wish-fulfilling cow. Generally, they were saying that the gods will take one because they had to work together. Gods and asuras. Gods couldn't do it themselves. The asuras couldn't do it themselves. One is pulling on one side, one is pulling on the other side. They worked together, and they were sharing this. You take the first thing that comes, we take the next thing that comes. Then Goddess Lakshmi came out, and Lord Vishnu said, no, too good. I take her for myself. And the Amrita Kalasha came out, the pot of immortal nectar. And they say before that, neither the gods nor the asuras were immortal. And they realized that by taking this nectar, this amrita from the pot, they'd become immortal. And it was the asura's turn to get that. And the devas said, no, 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 we can't have this. We can't have them be immortal, and we're not. So they fought. And the devas won the ability to take the amrita. They won that for themselves. And so they lined up. Just like in a temple, Indra took the amrita and he's dipping a spoon and giving it to everyone like prasad in the temple, and they take it and drink it. And the devas all lined up. At this point, Rahu and Ketu was just one. But he's a sneaky guy. They each have a sneaky quality about them. They're very sneaky. They snuck into line with devas. Even though they were asura, they should be on the asura side. They snuck into the line with the devas. And it wasn't until after they had took their amrita that it was realized that they got in the wrong line and should not have been there. And so the devas said, no, this won't do. They chopped him in half. Rahu's the head of the dragon. Ketu is the tail of the dragon. Of course, they survived because they took the amrita. So there's this story that lets us know about their tricky, sneaky nature. We don't see them coming. The astrologers don't know about them. They don't know what to make of them. There's so much different opinions on them. People say they have different colors, different mantras, different yantras. They're not written about in the oldest text of astrology very much. And so people don't know so much. It's a very subtle thing. And I've noticed when I tell people about their planets, I'll say, your sun indicates this, your moon indicates this, your Mars indicates this. And they're like, yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness, that sounds just like me. And then I get to Rahu and Ketu. I say, your Rahu indicates this, your Ketu indicates this. And they're like, nope, nope. You were right until you got to Rahu and Ketu. Nope, nope. Because they indicate the subconscious things that people are not aware of. Maybe if someone's done a lot of meditation, a lot of inner work, a lot of spiritual practice, they'll say, yes, Ketu, yes, Rahu, that's me. I've seen that, I noticed that. But there's subtle things that people are not always aware of. They can tell us about hidden things. I realized someone had a poison in their air conditioning one time because of the placement of the Rahu. They had breathing problems. I said, let me look at the astrology. I said, you have toxins in the air. It's got to be some toxins, some mold or something in your air conditioning system. And in the ducts, they had this. So hidden sources of trouble they can indicate, but Rahu will give us a lot of prosperity. If he's placed well, or if we overcome his karmas, he gives us wealth, he gives us success, he gives us prosperity. Rahu in the second house can give us a lot of prosperity in life, but he also can make us talk like a sailor, we'll curse and say bad things, say things we shouldn't say, get ourselves in trouble talking. Why? Because second house indicates speech. Rahu will make us speak rough. Rahu may make us stutter. He may make demons speak through us. He may make gods speak through us. If someone is channeling, they'll probably have a very short life, but maybe Rahu is the indicator that spiritual beings is speaking through them. Ketu, on the other hand, will give us spirituality. He really, really grants us Kundalini awakening. If we want to have Kundalini awakening and experience Samadhi, we need the blessings of Ketu. Ketu is very mystical, very spiritual. Either one can cause some of the worst problems that anyone could ever experience in life. But a well-placed Rahu may give us abundance. Well-placed Ketu will make us intuitive. He'll give us occult knowledge, occult powers. If Ketu gets placed in the 8th house, we'll have a lot of problems, but we may have occult knowledge also. If Ketu gets placed in the 12th house, we won't be able to sleep, but we may experience samadhi in this life. We don't need Ketu in the 8th house to have occult powers, but it's tendencies I'm talking about here. But Ketu also, he may think a lot about social justice. Ketu gets in the 10th house, often a person will choose a job. They get paid less because they're doing what is the right thing to do, they feel. That Ketu may graduate from law school and he'll choose to be a public defender, paid much less by the government to defend those who cannot afford a lawyer. If he goes to medical school and he's a doctor, maybe he'll choose to then go on a trip to Africa and stay in Africa and help people there who can't afford medical help. This is the nature of Ketu. But they, like Saturn, those two tend to destroy every aspect of life that they touch until we can deal with their karmas, which are often very hard to access. They indicate karma, past life karma. Really, this class is all about Rahu Ketu, because we're talking about spiritual things that we can deal with through spiritual remedies, looking at the astrology, and Ketu and Rahu are the biggest indicators of that. So we'll be talking a lot about them. The mantras for Ketu are Om Ketun Krinvadna Ketave Pesho Maria Apeshase Samushadbhirajayatah Brahma Devanaham Padavi Kavinam Rishirvipranam Mahisho Mriganam Svieno Gridrana Kishvaditirvana Nagum Soma Pavitramate Terebhanne Sachitra Chitran Chitayantamasme Chitra Kshatra Chitratamam Vayodham Chandram Rahim Puruviram Brihantam Chandra Chandra Bhirgranate Yuvasva Om Adhidevata Pradadidevata Saitaya Bhagavate Ketave Namaha Brahmane Namaha Chitraguptaya Namaha. Adhideva is Brahma, Pratyadideva is Chitragupta. People see these deities with the different colors, just like they see chakras with the different colors. One guru meditating will say, "Oh, the first chakra is red." One guru meditating will say, "Oh, first chakra is yellow." I mean, Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine. I was one time years back doing fire ceremony to a lot of the planets, and I was focusing on Ketu. I'd been for like 7 days, 9 days, offering the names of Ketu, 108 names into the fire. Swaha, swaha, swaha. Ketave namah swaha. Tumravarnaya swaha. Etc., etc., etc. Sarpaswarupaya swaha. All the names of Ketu I'm offering. And all of a sudden, this big spiritual being approached me, taller than a person. A lot of spiritual beings will come to you when you're doing ceremonies like this. I used to see them all the time come. Some would be ghosts or whatever. I just try. Some would be spirit, lesser angels, whatever, lesser demonic beings. And I'd see them and I just hope good things for them. I never stop and talk to them, but I saw this presence. It was very intense. It was startling. I stopped. I said, "Who are you?" Saw this tall being. It looked like a brown color, light brown color to me. I saw it standing almost like with a human form, tall, much taller, 9 feet tall, taller than a human. I said, "Who are you?" And I heard a voice say, "You are the one whose names I am chanting." Very mystical answer. There's some occult knowledge, I guess, in there. I thought about that. And I said, "Oh, this is Ketu saying that Ketu is within me, and he's saying that he's me and I'm him, or something." And he said, "This is." That's when I realized this is Ketu talking in some mystical way, like some mystical guru. I saw Ketu. I think he just came to show me that he was there, giving his blessings or something. There was no message or anything that I recall. Maybe he just gave his blessings. He was showing me that he was there. I had that experience, but K2 gives us these mystical experiences. If we want to be a successful astrologer, we need the blessings of K2. We need to make sure that the Rahu is not hindering us. There's also upagrahas in Vedic astrology. We don't have the outer planets, but we have these upagrahas. I don't use them much myself, but you can use them. They're very useful. They tend to almost all of them are completely negative results. If you have several malefic planets in one place in the chart, sometimes you'll see a malefic upagraha is there too, making things even worse. If you can't figure things out from the 7 planets, look into Rahu and Ketu. If you can't figure it out from them, look at these upagrahas. What are they? They may be satellites. There may be a lot of people say, well, this is nothing physical. They may not be something physical. Who knows? But maybe they're satellites. Maybe they're stars. Maybe they're comets or something. These upagrahas, I have a list here because I don't recall what they all. There's 11 upagrahas. Dhuma, Vyatipata, Parivesha, Indrachapa, Upaketu, Gulika, who's also called Mandi. There's some discussion about that. Is there a different one who's Gulika, different one Mandi? In Kerala, they're using this guy all the time, every day. They use him like a 10th planet in everything. I use him more than the others. They say Gulika is Mandi. This is confirmed in Parashara by the way it's written. Parashara defines everything. He defines all these upagrahas, but then he just goes into Gulika Mandi. He defines one, he doesn't define the other. He uses it at the term Mandi as if he defined it there before. Then there's Kala, Mrityu, Yama, Ghandhaka. He's the most benefic. And there's Ardha Prahara and Pranapada. These upagrahas can be considered as well. We can find their placement in, we can find the way to calculate it in the old texts, like Parashara. We can find their placement in the programs. We can refer to those if we need to as additional planets. So then we have these signs. I'm just going to introduce this concept very quickly. So the planets are things. They're something, you know. What are the signs? We can only see a little bit from where we are on Earth. Earth will spin around, but still we can only see like a band of sky out in the universe around us. We can see 360 degrees around Earth, depending on which way the Earth is facing. As it rotates on its axis, we can see 360 degrees around. Full circle. And so they've divided this into 12 parts. And within each one, in the Vedic sidereal system, there's a constellation. So some will say the signs or the rashis are constellations. In Western astrology, the rashis are not aligned with constellations anymore because they're losing time in this tropical system, in the sidereal system of Vedic astrology. In the sidereal system of Vedic astrology, the signs are aligned with these constellations. And so, depending on where the planet is at the time of birth, or even right now, it will be in line with a certain constellation. Moon may be in the constellation of Aries, Mesha, or maybe in a different one. Each of the constellations in Vedic astrology, each of the rashis is ruled by a planet. Sun and Moon have one. The other 7 planets have 2. Rahu, Ketu have none. They don't rule any And so these signs are Mesha, Aries, Vrishabha, Taurus, Mithuna, Gemini, Karkata, Cancer, Simha, Leo, Kanya, Virgo, Vrishchika, Scorpio, Dhanus, Sagittarius, Makara, Capricorn, Kumbha, Aquarius. And the last one is Meena, Pisces. Mesha, Aries, Meena, Pisces. Aries is ruled by Mars. It's considered to be the positive sign of Mars. Mars also rules Scorpio. Scorpio is a negative sign of Mars. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Taurus is the negative sign of Venus. Venus is also ruling Libra. Libra is the positive sign of Venus. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Some will say that's negative. But the moon has just one, so really that concept doesn't apply. Leo is ruled by the sun. Some will say that's positive, but that doesn't apply again. And the Jupiter, Sagittarius, is a positive sign. The Pisces is the negative sign. Saturn, Capricorn is the negative sign. And Kumbha, Aquarius, is a positive sign. So in one sense, in Vedic astrology, you can see why. The most benefic of the planets is positive sign, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is considered to be about the most auspicious sign in Vedic astrology. In Western astrology, there's not the same emphasis on spirituality in Western society. There's not the same emphasis on the positivity of Jupiter. In the Western, if you've studied Western astrology, you'll say, oh, but they say Sagittarius is so bad. Sagittarius is considered the most auspicious sign in Vedic astrology because it gives us all the positive qualities of the most benefic of the planets. I'll stop here for now. Om.